Hi everyone and welcome to Push Your Luck Videos. My name is Eric and today we will be reviewing Broom Service. This is a 2015 release by designers Andreas Pelikan and Alexander Feister. They are the Andreas Andrea is the designer who also brought you Rich's Brew, and this is what Broom Service seems to be. It seems to be a 2.0 version of Rich's Brew, which has already been out of print. Broom Service is a 2 to 5 player game. It plays about 45 minutes to just slightly over an hour. It is a game where players are I think witches, or they are trying to get as many of the resources as they can, go around the different towers and deliver potions and score points and charm away clouds and also score points. So when the game ends, there will be a bit of an end game scoring, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game will win Broom Service. So if you have played Witch's Brew before, Broom Service will be very familiar to you. The main mechanisms will be very familiar to you. There are additional elements to Broom Service, and I think they very much improve upon Witch's Brew. So let's take a look at the game components, the mechanisms, and how the game plays, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, so this is the components of Broom Service. Now, as compared to, I'll make some comparisons with Witch's Brew throughout this entire review. Witch's Brew was played entirely using cards, and in Broom Service there will be very similar cards as well with some differences. Now in Broom Service you also will notice that there's a board right now that was absent from Witch's Brew. In Broom Service and Witch's Brew they have these potions which you are trying to collect and deliver to various towers around the board. In addition, in Broom Service, you now have wands, which are used to chase away all these clouds that will be placed on the board. Now, at the start of the game, you randomly take all the clouds that are available, shuffle them, and place them at the various spots where there are clouds. All players will then start here. Now, there are two sides to the boards. They have different strategies. The other side of the board is a bit more difficult to maneuver around, which will provide more challenges to the players. The other side of the board is also required if you're playing with the other variants that come with the game. At the start of the game, each player will also have one of each type of resources as well as one wand. So the wand in this case is considered a resource as well. Players will also have a set of 10 cards. Now these cards are where the main mechanism of the game will come about. You'll randomly choose a starting player, and at the start of every round, every player will simultaneously choose 4 of these out of these 10 cards to play during that particular round. After they've chosen the card, after all players have chosen the card, then the starting player will decide one of these cards to play, and then we'll decide whether to be the brave part. Let me try to get the thing in focus. The brave part or the cowardly part. Now, if you play the cowardly part of the card, for example, if I play I am the cowardly hill witch, I will immediately get to do this capability. So in this case, I'll get to move. I'll get to fly or move my pawn to an adjacent cloud-free hill. If you decide to be the brave one, however, then you need to wait until all other players have. If they had this hill witch card in their hand, they will need to play it. And if you're the final person who said I am the brave witch, then you get to do the ability. So for example, in this case, let's say there's 4 players. Player 1 plays I am the brave hill witch. Now then we go to player 2, player 3, and player 4. If any of the players have the same hill witch card in their hand, they must play the card out and decide whether they want to play the cowardly hill witch or the brave hill witch. So it's like a trick taking. So if I play this one out, every other player needs to play this card to see who will finally be able to do the brave hill witch. So for example, player 2 may think that player 3 and 4, they also have the hill witch card, so they will not play immediately. So they will maybe player 2 will think that, oh, I do not want to risk it, I want to be able to do something, so I will play the cowardly hill witch. Maybe player 3 does not have the card, so player 3 passes. Player 4 has the card, so player 4 decides to be I am the brave hill witch. This means that player 1, who was the first to say that I am the Brave Hill Witch, will not be able to do any action at all. So that would mean that the player 1 would have lost an action or lost a turn. Now player 4 will do the I am the Brave Hill Witch, do the action, and then out of the remaining 3 cards in his hand, he will choose the next card and he will begin. So whoever was the last to do the brave action will be the new starting player of the next card that is to be played. So in this way, all players will be able to play all 4 of their cards, but whether they actually do have 4 actions or not, it's dependent on whether they play the brave part or the cowardly part. Once all players are done, a new round will begin. One thing I forgot to note is that in this new version, there are event cards. So these are the event cards. There are many different events. This is something new in Broom Service, not available in Witch's Brew. So at the start of the game, you shuffle and have 7 of these cards in play. You shuffle them. 3 of them will be out of the game. So at the start of every round, you draw 1 event, and then this event will be active for this particular round. So this is the English-French version, so the French is below, the English word is on top. So in this case, for example, the player who owns empty-handed, the player who owns just 5 or fewer resources at the end of the round gets 3 resources. And then, so we do the action where everybody chooses to do a brave action or the cowardly action. And once all player has done, all the cards are down, to pick up all their cards again. You will draw a new event. This event is discarded. You draw a new event, right? And then players will choose another 4 and play the game again. Now, what do these cards give you? Firstly, if you see the cloud, right? The cloud will have the cloud will have this sun thing, and there's a number inside and a lightning. This number indicates the number of wands you need to charm the cloud away. And to do that, your pawn will need to be adjacent to the cloud that you want to charm away. And then you will need to play the Weather Fairy card. So Weather Fairy, if you play the brave part, you'll be able to charm the cloud away, and you get an extra 3 points. If you do the cowardly part, you only charm the cloud away and that's it. You don't get extra benefits. So players will discard the number of wands equal to what is indicated on a number on the cloud, and then we'll keep this cloud token in front of them face down. Why is this important? At the end of the game, the number of lightnings that you have, total lightnings that you have, will give you points. So if I had 4 lightnings, I'll get 14 points at the end of the game. Next, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 wishes cards, which allow you to traverse around the different terrains that are on the map. So the Prairie Witch Tornado will go to the plains. The Forest Witch Wielder Fire will allow you to move one of your tokens onto the green area. The Mountain Witch Avalanche will allow you to move your pawn into one of the mountainous area. And the last one, the Hill Witch, the Lana Slide, will allow you to move your pawn onto the brown area. If you do the brave part for them, after you move, you can still deliver a potion to one of the towers that's adjacent to where you moved. So for example, if I moved here, I can deliver to this tower or this tower, provided they are available. Now the towers, there are 2 types of towers. One is a square one and one is a round one. The square one, after you deliver the potion is removed from the game, put in the supply, and you get 3 points. This is the points that you get, which means that this is always available for players to deliver to this tower. But if it's the round tower, they'll give you points. In this case, they give you a wand as well. But you will put the potion, so in the case it's the purple potion, you put it onto the tower to indicate that no one can deliver to that tower anymore. So that's the witches card. The Gatherer's card. So there's 3 different Gatherer's card. You have Herbie the Herb Gatherer, which will give you 2 green potions and 1 wand, or just give you 1 green potion. Berry the Fruit Gatherer gives you 2 purple and 1 wild potion, as well as 1 purple potion. The last one is Rudy the Root Gatherer, which gives you 1 orange potion or 2 wands. Finally is the Druids. So there is 2 Druids. One is Brock Bottom, the Valley Druid. Now this allows you to deliver a potion to any tower, provided that you are on either of. So you see, I'm the Brave Valley Druid, and deliver a magic potion to a tower in a prairie or forest. And your pawn must also be either in a prairie or forest. So when you do this, you deliver the potion and you get extra 3 points. Otherwise, you just deliver and you don't get extra 3 points. The other one is Pig Druid, called Chip Top Pig Druid. This is for the hill or mountain. Alright, so that's the 10 cards that you have. So players are trying to carefully decide what 4 cards they can choose and trying their best to always be able to do the brave action, deliver the before the other players are able to get to it, and also try to figure out a way to get as many points as they can. So that's the gist of the game. Components wise, if you look at the cards, the art design is really beautiful. This is by artist Vincent Dutre, who also did the art for Elysium. I think he also did the art for Lewis and Clark, which is one of the games that both John and I really love the art. So the art is really beautiful. The component quality is very nice as well. I would advise you to sleeve the cards because they do get a lot of views very often, and you don't want other people to be able to tell what cards you have chosen. The card back will tell you what color they are. You don't really have a indicator right in front of you to remind you what color you are. So the card back is very useful for that. The tokens are very nice. The cardboards are also of a good quality. So that is how you play Broom Service. Let's go to my thoughts. So what do I think of Broom Service? Now, if you enjoy and love Witch's Brew, this is a must-buy for you. This is a no-brainer. This is a good improvement on Witch's Brew. It keeps the meat of Witch's Brew, which is these cards and what you're trying to do with these cards and trying to anticipate what your opponents are going to be doing. So it keeps the juicy part of Witch's Brew and added this land area exploration, sort of, well, not really area control, but you're trying to be the first to deliver. So it's like a pick up and deliver part mechanism added to the game. So it adds a new dimension to what was originally just a card game. The events are also very interesting. They may kind of dictate what you're kind of trying to do during your turn, but it does it in a very subtle way. It doesn't force you to do it. You could ignore it if you want to, but usually they do give you points, or they make you do things in a certain way that you may not have thought. For example, one of them forces you to do the brave action. If you're the first to play that card for that round, you must always do the brave action. So that makes interesting twist to a game. New dimension as well. I really love this game. The way that you need to think what your opponents are trying to do, to look at the board. It gives you additional information on what your opponents may do. So it adds a new difficulty level to a game. And I think previously in Witch's Brew, since there's no board dimension to the game, you need to it's a bit trickier to guess what your opponents are trying to do, because you're not sure whether they're trying to get more of the potion, you're not sure whether they're trying to get more points, and so on and so forth. Now with an added board, you can be able to guess better, but at the same time it means that I need to be a bit more trickier, not as obvious when I'm playing the game. The cloud mechanism adds a new way to score. It's not just the potions. Now you have these clouds that you can also score as well. The game also comes with 3 variants. All right, which are all these things that you can add to the board. There are the green tiles, which You can, if you there'll be 3 of them on the board. When you collect them, they'll give you special benefits. Like for example, if you play the cowardly part of your card, you can discard one of the green tiles to get 5 points instead of doing the action. Then there are the grey tiles, which allow you to, when you go there, you get to activate the action. Then there are these brown tiles, which are like teleporting part. If you look at the second side of the board, there are different fairy rings, where once you touch the grey tile, you get to move your pawn either to like for example for this case is you move to the A or B part. So it allows you to move around the board quickly and will not leave some of the boards parts of the board empty, for example, not touched. So it plays fast. It plays best with 5 players, but if you play with fewer players, not to worry, the game has a very good way of mimicking how the other players will do. For example, if you play with less than 5, let's say you play with 4 players, then you take the deck that's not in use, you shuffle it, and every time you have a new, every round you draw one of these cards out. So that becomes a card where, what does it say, a bewitched card. So it means that anyone else, if you play that particular card for the round, alright, you can do it, you can still play the card, but you get a negative 3 points. So I feel that it handles the lack of 5 players, less than 5 players situation very well. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Broom Service. So I will just say that if you can get a copy, do get a copy. It is a very fun, very it can be brain melty, right? Because you're trying to anticipate what others are doing. You're trying to think a lot, and if it's 5 players, it's even worse. You're trying to think of what everyone else is doing so that you don't get screwed, and you need to calculate correctly, because if you end up making the wrong moves, you could have wasted the entire round, and that can be quite devastating. So this is Broom Service. Thanks to Ravensburger for a review copy, and I heartily recommend it. Thanks for watching.